night, greetings. If everything is going well, you know. It's 23 degrees outside. Yeah, that's good. Thought I would just check in with free thoughts, just free thinking. Why not? You know? Usually I come in here with a topic and I usually do my best to stay the course with whatever that topic is. Occasionally I'll just check in and it'll be something like this where I'm just kind of freestyling, you know? And, you know, if people check in, that's great because sometimes people are chatty and they want to talk about certain things, which is always a plus. I have a few different forms of therapeutic release. And I think this right here could be a form of of therapy as well. And the reason I say that is because I'm not really driven to do this for the normal reasons why people create content. So as a result, I stick to the script. There's a few things I do that I tend to stay with. A lot of people create content with their channels regarding one topic, right? And that's suggested, that's recommended because you probably do best if you're revolving around one topic. Like, let's say, for example, yes, I am Upper Moon. Greetings to you, by the way. Like, let's say you play video games, right? And that's what your channel is about. Okay, so you're probably going to do well. Now, if you go from being, let's say, a gamer, a streamer, playing games, and then it morphs into something else, that could be cool. You know, where is the Trump? I have no idea where the Trump is. What's up, Joseph? How you doing? And it's usually suggested not to have multiple topics because then it's like maybe confusing to the algorithm. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But here on this channel, I stick to the script. There's only 3 topics that I other than touring the real out here. I'm in the Bronx right now, right? Do you have to go online for what, Joseph? What is the question regarding? Or are you talking to Upper Moon about the Trump? I tour around. Like I said, I'm in the Bronx right now. I tour around New York City. Do you have to go live? What do you have to go live for? Do you want to jump in this stream with me? Do you want me to bring you in somehow through these options? Oh, okay. Now it's making sense to me. How many subs do you have to go live? I don't know, honestly. I think maybe 100 subs. Maybe if you have 100 subs. I know there's some credentials that YouTube has to be able to go live. Yeah, I'm on my mobile right now, so I think you have to have 100 subs. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's something like that. 100 subs, you know. I think there's like one or two other things that YouTube has as far as the criteria that they want, and then from there you can start your first live. So, you know, wishing you all the success to make that happen if that's what you want to do. And you know, if you have interesting things to talk about, or if you just want to do lives and just, you know, like me, I'm like today, right now, it's free thoughts, right? Like free thinking. Just using it as therapy, you know, a form of, and if people want to chime in and talk, whether you want to, you know, speak about the Trump or, or you want to troll or you want to, you know, chat about something important to you, that's cool too. You know, and like I said, I treat it like it's therapeutic. So I enjoy it. And then, like I said, besides touring around New York City and showing people the real out here, you know, because you're not going to see the Statue of Liberty and you're not going to see like, you know, a whole bunch of like tourist locations, because that was always the goal here with this channel, not to do that. Yeah, as far as joining the live, Joseph, I'm not like I know I've done it before because I have a couple of the YouTube channels, right? That I just don't, you know, I don't really use as much anymore. But I kind of chill here now. And I brought someone else in. Yeah, well, I'm not exactly sure how it works, Joseph. Um, because I haven't done like a share in a while. Yeah, I'm American medical. But yeah, I'll pay attention next time to, because there's a whole bunch of options right here on the side on the mobile. And let me see if I go into settings. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to do that, you know, because on the mobile, I'm not exactly sure. I will have to like be more prepared next time. Because last time I did a live stream where I was sharing it with someone else, we prepared it in advance and then we made it happen, you know? So I would suggest you not put your phone number here on on a live stream. Not saying that anyone's going to do anything, but I don't know if that's actually the wisest thing to do, to just put your real phone number right here on a public live stream. Maybe not the best thing, but YouTube is one of those platforms where it's like it's not like Facebook, IG, or even TikTok or any Snapchat or any of the other ones, because like those have like DMs where you could do things like that, whereas here in YouTube everything is kind of like really public, you know? So it yeah, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you. You want to do that? That's fine too. You can yeah, feel free. If it's, I'm just saying, you know, if it's okay with you, I just put the disclaimer out there because you never know, you know. So just you know, just putting that out there just to be cautious. But Yeah, I'm not putting out material that's very touristy because that was the goal from the very beginning. But it's also about like, I do these kind of things whenever I see them. YouTube just has these little things they want me to do. So I just entertain whatever YouTube puts out there. People usually don't. I mean, maybe if there was 300 people in this live, then maybe they'd answer a question like that. You believe in luck? But, and I'm sure at some point in the future that will happen, you know? But slow grind. And like I said, not touristy stuff, but like the real deal of what really goes down. Because sometimes, for example, right, you know, like you got to understand in the Bronx, you have to know how to move out here. And I'm not saying I'm untouchable or that, I'm invincible or anything like that. I just know that when you go to social media and you hear people talk about the Bronx, you hear a lot of negativity, you know? And when I hear that, I'm not saying like the Bronx is not, it doesn't have like little truths to whatever people are saying. But, if you come out and say things like in a very negative and like shocking way, and you have a bunch of people that say similar things, it's like people run with that, So then it's just like you're passing on a certain type of stereotype about a place like the Bronx. Whereas, like I said, if you know how to move, then like most places, I'm not gonna say all places, but a lot of different environments, then you probably will wind up minding your own business and not have to deal with a lot of the shock value stuff that people talk about, right? Because out here in the Bronx, I say this all the time, I'm in the projects in the roughest areas of the Bronx at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning regularly. And projects a lot of times that I'm not familiar with. And like I said, I'm not invincible, but you hear people talk about how crazy the Bronx is. But like I said, if you know how to move, you mind your own business, and you don't escalate situations, and you know how to treat people with respect, it doesn't matter for the most part where you are. Out here in the Bronx, we don't have kidnapping culture, right? And here in the Bronx, we don't even really have like stick up culture crazy. So, I would say if you're going to talk about crime out here in the BX is like, I would say people just push product, and then you have, different sets, and they do what they do. But just random craziness, it's not as prevalent as you would think for as lawless and berserk people, stereotype the BX to be. It's not what, you see all over IG and social media about how dangerous the Bronx is. So, anyways, I love the Bronx, for all the positives and all the negatives. I have major love for the Bronx. I'll always say that. I love staying in the Bronx. I love being in the Bronx as often as possible. Everything about it, you know. And like I said, I know how to move out here. So 2:30 in the morning out here, Eastern Standard Time, out here in the BX USA. And I wanted to check in to just say hi to people and just have free thoughts, free thinking, see what everyone's up to. And like I said, other than what I was mentioning about touring out here in the, southern part of New York, just giving the real on a regular basis, there's 3 topics. Yeah, maybe it's not as efficient as just one topic, preferably for YouTube, but I'm gonna consistently revolve around the same 3 topics here on this channel besides touring. I wouldn't really consider myself a YouTuber, medical. I wouldn't even consider myself a content creator. When I first got involved with creating content, it was for business because I had started my own business, my own LLC, and with that business, it was like I had to, kind of promote it. And that's how I got involved with social media. And I wouldn't even say it was like all that beneficial for business. So, I learned it. I understood it. I wasn't all that fond of doing it. And then I backed out of it all. Everything. And I just wasn't ever really a fan of it, And this right here, this channel, this has nothing to do with business. This has nothing to do with money. This has nothing to do with verification, with monetization, with Discords, with Patreons, with selling anything, with memberships, with subscribing, with likes, with anything. And that's how I want to keep it. So when you ask if I'm a YouTuber, I don't consider myself a YouTuber or a content creator. I just come here and I just leave a public journal because it's like therapy for me, And like I said, it's public. So people are free to say whatever they want to say. And I always say this, no one's ever going to get banned. No one's going to, like, if you want to come in here and talk reckless, feel free, If that's what floats your boat, you want to be as negative as you can be, do so. That's you. You want to spam about whatever you want to spam, obnoxiously about, do so. Like I always say, I at least you have a pulse. You have some sort of something going on in that brain, So sometimes besides the public journal and the therapy, people come in, they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. Sometimes good topics come about and we get it rolling based off of that. But I know moving forward, because, I don't know if Joseph's still here, but he mentioned how there were 3 people at the time. And yeah, I think, slow grind with this channel. Perhaps sometime in the future it'll be 300. I have seen 300 plus people in a live stream before, but I'm talking about 300 people in a live stream routinely, like consistently, where there are constantly hundreds of people in the live. I'm sure that'll come, and when that happens, because I can see it over a period of time, that'll happen. When it happens, I'm sure it'll be glorious. Sure, it'll be marvelous. And if it doesn't happen, it'll be just as amazing in its own way. I'm human. I, of course, I like engagement. You know, I like YouTube is sending me all types of like funny questions. I just put them up. Yeah, so medical, when I said initially I did that for business, right? And I said I don't think it was really all that successful, you know? So, and I wasn't the biggest fan of social media. I did it because I thought at the time that that would help with business. But no matter how I was doing social media, I couldn't really figure it out. Like I tried a lot. I was doing edited videos. I was doing everything. And this channel right here is more of like I said, there's nothing related to business here. And it's just like the title of this particular live stream. It's about free thinking, just free thoughts. Sometimes there are topics for sure, but this is more successful than when I had more polished material specifically for business. So that tells me, like, you know, when I have more of a, like, I'm just putting out stuff that I want to put out without any motive per se. And like I said, nothing is related to profit here, where I'm trying to get something out of it, you know, as far as money is concerned. I like that. I like that a lot more. I don't want to have anything to do with money when it comes to this right here. Like in this case, we're talking about YouTube and subscribers and anything that goes with that. And that's usually the goal with most people. Most people start YouTube because they want to do that, you know? I don't. So I like that, you know? And I can see a time in the future where the content will get better because there will be less restrictions. There will be more options to get things done. Right now I'm coasting, you know? Like I said, it's 2:30 in the morning. I'm out here in the Bronx. I'm pulled over and I'm just expressing free thoughts. And subs will come, I'm sure, naturally, organically. Let them happen however they happen, you know? And I'm not concerned about, you know, having, like I said, I'm human. I like engagement. I like when, you know, more comments and those types of things happen, but at the same time, it doesn't stress me out. It doesn't cause me anxiety if something doesn't have engagement and doesn't have views. You know, it's not going to make me go crazy. So that's how I prefer it. And I want it to be that way. I want it to continue to be that way, regardless of how many subscribers, you know, get on board and, you know, we create some sort of community here, you know? And I don't ever want to push unnaturally for more subs or engagement or anything like that. I just want it to happen however it happens. So, that's really it. It's 23 degrees out here at 2:40 in the morning, Bronx, New York. And like I said, I was checking in with free thoughts to just talk, quickly check in and chat about whatever came to mind. I didn't really have a specific topic to discuss, because a lot of times I do. But if anyone has any questions, feel free, you know. But yeah, I think staying consistent is something that applies to pretty much anything, you know. Because you go into, some sort of like hermit mode where you become a recluse. That doesn't bode well with this right here, the algorithm, people, however it may be. You have to be consistent. It's kind of like the markets. It's like one moment you'll be going up, and the next moment something will just have people just totally flush the charts, And people are like that, where, anything can affect how a person thinks. We're very complex beings, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. So it's important to analyze these things, regardless of how free your thoughts are. So, yeah, with that being said, that's really all I wanted to check in and discuss on my end. If anyone has anything they want to talk about or bring up to discuss, feel free. But yeah, that's really it, I got a little water right here I'm gonna sip on. It's got a little caffeine via green tea extract. It's got stevia too, so there's no sugar, but the caffeine in this, it really does something to me. I wasn't very sensitive to caffeine for a long time, because I used to have there was a time when I drink like Bustelo and like imported, like fancy coffee that came from like Africa or wherever, and it was like supposed to be extremely strong, and I drink it black and all of that. And I didn't think I was very sensitive. But now I'll have one of these where it has some green tea extract, so it has caffeine in it, and I'm like wired. It's like, when did this happen, And I know it's the caffeine. I know it's the caffeine from the green tea, because there's nothing, I know stevia doesn't do that to me. There's no sugar in this. So there's nothing else in here. Monk fruit extract doesn't do it. Stevia doesn't do it. Any of these vitamins and minerals don't do it. So it's clearly, well, it says it has Green, yeah, it's it's the extract that has caffeine, and it's like, like I said, there was a time when I would have really strong black coffee. I'd have what are they called? Like some of those I forget. They're like, it's like black coffee, but it's like very strong. And I would have it, and it would. What's up, Rance? How you doing? It wouldn't really do much, but now I'm sensitive. Just that little sip I took, I'm going to be relatively wired for some time, you know? So, yeah. But it's good to stay hydrated no matter what. February is going to be a solid month. It's already, you know, 2026 is our year. This year is going to be the best year yet. It was written, and I called this a long time ago. I'm talking about 5, 6 years ago. And I knew this would be a solid year. And I know it's going to be an amazing year. Yo, go inside, man. Got no coat on. Crazy. But yeah, you know. It's one of those things where it's like I can't, I have to wait. I've been through so much in life where it's like I can't, even though I know without being able to read the future, I know certain things are happening and they will continue to happen. But I've been through so much in life where it's like you can't celebrate until after you know it has happened, you know? Because it's like you don't want to jinx yourself, you know? So I'm quietly tallying all the wins after the fact. And I'm preparing for more wins to continue to happen. And that's a very beautiful thing. Because I'm not saying there were so many losses over the last several years, but there was some very trying times, you know? And I was very anxious and relatively stressed out for a long period of time. And quite honestly, so I went through a brief bout of depression for at least 8 months straight, right? That was a long time ago. Bounced back from that. And then over the course of the last 20 plus years, it's more than 20 years. I would say, honestly, it's going to sound crazy, but honestly, over the course of the last 30 plus years, I have been stressed. And I know that sounds crazy, but for the first time in my life, this year, 2026, After 30 plus years of being stressed and doing my best to just deal with it, I'm finally getting the relief I always wanted. And it's amazing. And like I said, I've been through so much in life where it's like I'm just counting my blessings after they happen because I don't want to jinx anything because I've been through so much for so long. So every win that's getting tallied now is like, wow, it's almost like I got to pinch myself, you know? And I was doing my best to help others while I needed help myself. So now, when I'm getting to a place where I'm finally getting the relief I always wanted, it's a different type of help now in helping others. Now it's about, well, I can help because I've been working on it. I can help others with just being positive for the most part, expressing kindness and love, respect, and not escalating situations. Doing my best not to push out sarcasm and negative energy. So that's really what I'm trying to do at this point moving forward, you know? And as a result, I'm counting these blessings, I'm tallying these wins, and it's like bittersweet, you know? The joy is very genuine because it's so long overdue. Like when it's been longer than 3 decades, just imagine that, you know? If you've been going through it for over 3 decades, and right now is the first time after that long where you're finally getting relief, it's like you have to take a deep breath, you know? And I'm sure as time goes on, more wins are tallied. You'll genuinely see that from me, you know? And I can't wait. And it's not going to take long neither, because this is that year after so long. So, like I said, genuine joy. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be happy. Genuinely, I'm happy to be healthy and still engaging in the things I like to do with passion and soon to be more excitement, you know? So, that's really it. And I just wanted to check in, say hi, put out a quick live stream regarding this subject matter, which was kind of like just really free thought, free thinking, So that's really it. And with that being said, again, if anyone has anything they want to talk about, feel free. But yeah, I'm out here in the Bronx, regular degular, doing what I do as usual. It's brick outside, 22 degrees right now. Wow, you know. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna pretty much end right there, and I appreciate every person that checked in, chimed in. As I always say, I value your time, and We'll do this again shortly. And till the next time.